Well, it is the autumn season and back to school time. Do you have any memories of going back to school after the hot summer holidays? Well, I certainly do, and I'm remembering the teachers that I went back to and how they influenced my life. Now, we're celebrating World Teachers Day on October the 5th, and I wanted to share a story with you from our sponsor, Rhodes Scholar, about two teachers who had an amazing experience that they took back to their classroom. So this is Margaret Manning with 60andMe, and I want to thank you for being here, and I hope that you enjoy this conversation about lifelong learning. It's really something that we prioritize at 60andMe. I personally am always looking for opportunities to expand my knowledge about the world and the amazing societies and cultures that we live with. Now, Rhodes Scholar is an educational travel company that focuses on offering programs that are going to give you a deeper dive into a culture and a historical setting, perhaps, but they have so many different options that you can choose from, many in the United States and also worldwide. And this story that they tell about two teachers, now their names are Beth and Brenda Shee and Beth Eglund. Now they are teachers who took a Rhodes Scholar program in Boston. They are teachers of second and third grade kids, and their mission was to really extend their own understanding about the Constitution and American history and that part of the world. Everything was happening at that time in the Boston area, and they wanted to learn for themselves, to enrich their own experience as lifelong learners themselves, but also to be able to go back to their school, and teach the kids. And the thing that I love in this article that Rhodes Scholar put together is that they actually talk about it as the personal aspect of hands-on experience of something that you can read in a textbook. You can give a child a book and say, read this story about the American Revolution, but being there and following the trail, following the path, walking the streets and visiting the historical landmarks, gives you a whole different energy and passion about the topic. And so you can go back to kids, especially young children in second and third grade, and bring it to life for them. So this story that Rhodes Scholar wrote for us is all about these two women who took the textbooks, put the textbooks away and went out on their feet, walking around, go to Paul Revere's house, learning how people communicated with each other in those days. By walking the path, they could see, this is like, how did they do this? How did they get information to each other? How did it actually play out? And they looked at historic sites in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts, and they said that this gave them a whole new opinion about the American Revolution, the people that were involved in the movement, the struggles that they had, and how they overcame them. So they, are going back to share with their classes, but also this time they're going to be sharing with the whole school. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity that Rhodes Scholar offers these kinds of programs for teachers and for everybody. Anyone that's interested in these topics can go and join like-minded people who enjoy not just travel, because travel is wonderful in and of itself, but actually traveling where you've got a topic that you're going to discuss and understand. Now, teachers, I love remembering my teachers because I moved a lot when I was a child. And I think every year for the first 8 years or 9 years of school, I went to a different school every year. So my teachers were like my second parents, and they were my grounding. I went to school every day. So I got to know them, and I felt like they were my center point. I could look to them for not just inspiration, but they were wise. I can remember, isn't it funny the things you remember? I remember this one teacher. I took Latin in school, and all I remember about her was that she was incredibly smart. I actually could remember all these words. I have no idea. As a young person, I was amazed. But she had these nails that were like red nails. Mine are turquoise, but hers were red, and she used to click her nails like this when she was repeating. We used to say a prayer or a piece of text. And so the reason I mention her nails and her personality was she really inspired me as a woman to teach something that was complicated, that as a child I didn't understand, but I knew she had really got wisdom. And I think that was one of the things with my teachers that I respected. And, maybe you've got similar memories of your teachers, that things they brought into your life to make you stronger, make you maybe become a teacher. Maybe they inspired you to do things with history or science or mathematics, computers now, that you developed as your career. And now you're teaching others, or you're teaching your grandchildren, and whatever. So it's really powerful. I remember another teacher that I had who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, but he was such a inspiration to me. I've got goosebumps thinking about him. His name was Robert Lester, and he was my professor at the University of Colorado, and he was my first teacher of religious studies. I was in that program, and he had the most amazing way of teaching us about comparative religion. And at the beginning of the course, he said, we've got a couple of books that I want you to read, but I really want you to get out into the world and experience religious studies. And so he made us choose places to go and sit through the services and talk to people. And so we went to church, a Catholic church and a Christian church. And we went to a Jewish synagogue. We went to a Buddhist temple, and his specialty was Hinduism. So we studied Indian philosophy and Indian culture from him. He did teach us, but it was from his heart. It was like just as a person. It wasn't a book. And then he actually brought in a voodoo doctor to come in the full voodoo dress, which is amazing. We were all so overwhelmed to come into the classroom and talk about voodoo, the African traditions. And with that kind of memory, you can see how I'm going on here about it. It has such an impact. Anyway, teachers are just heroes to me. They really are. They are my heroes. And they're, in terms of Brenda and Beth, they were able to bring back their specialty, their understanding about American history to their young children. And can you imagine how that impacted the kids? I just know it made a difference. They also did another program, actually, I wanted to read about it. They actually have used their travel experience in the past to actually learn other things to bring back to the schools. And they did one on migration programs in California. This is birds and animal migration. And they looked at butterflies and, I don't know what other things, whales and elephant seals, and how they migrated along the California coast. And I always find that amazing, how butterflies and birds migrate thousands of miles. It's fascinating. But they took this program, and then they actually were able to travel and learn and then take it back to their kids. But Rhodes Scholar allowed them to go on this program. It was actually the Boston American History one, because their school actually paid a grant for them to take advantage of this Rhodes Scholar program. And then Rhodes Scholar, of course, loved it so much they wanted to talk about it. So I'm really happy that we shared this story with you. Thank you to Rhodes Scholar for being our sponsor and just doing such a great job of bringing travel into our lives in a real way and helping us to be lifelong learners. Now, also, I wanted to mention before I close, though, that one of the things that Beth and Brenda said was on the Rhodes Scholar program, they learned so much, but they also met amazing people. And I've been on 2 Rhodes Scholar programs myself, and I can say the same. The people are so fascinating, maybe 12, 15, sometimes more people, and they've all got a story, all got an interest. And they said here that they met people on the program that were fascinating, curious, insightful, and thoughtful. And the closing quote here from Brenda and Beth, was that we all learn from each other. And I just think that's a great way to pull this all together, that teachers are the core of learning about our world. But together with the Rhodes Scholar programs and other, decisions that we make with our personal travel, we become bigger, richer, more intelligent, more thoughtful and kind people, more insightful. And I think sharing our wisdom with our younger generations is so important. So thanks to Rhodes Scholar for being our sponsor and for being such a great company to work with and be inspired by. And thank you to Beth and Brenda. You just did an awesome job there of helping your kids to become lifelong learners as well. So have a great day, everybody. Check out the Rhodes Scholar website and be inspired. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye for now.